Hello, everyone. Welcome back to XR Open Source Fellowship Program EMA sessions. So today we have Utsav, Mathur, and Sahil Ahuja from Geometry, and we do have Amit Rajput as well. Hello, everyone.
Hey, hi, Puneet.
Hello, hello.
So, as as per next steps, I would like to ask Utsav and Sahil to introduce Geometry to the audiences, to all the developers first.
Yeah, maybe I can just take that up really quickly. So, quite simply put, so first of all, hey everyone, really looking forward to seeing some amazing talent come in, and would love to, of course, answer your questions today. That's what we want to kind of focus on. So, and thanks Puneet for, of course, setting this up. Just as a really lightning, quick introduction, you can think of geometry as the Canva of the metaverse. A really simple toolkit that's being used across the board to create some really stunning experiences, which range from really cool experiences which large enterprises like PayPal, Amazon, Walmart, or Sanofi would use for a variety of reasons, including employee experience, digital twins, e-commerce, all the way down to some exciting deployments that we've done, including things like the COVID vaccine manufacturing in the past, including things like large scale metaverses which are citywide as well. That's geometry in a nutshell. And Puneet, I don't know if you want me to kind of just share my screen and go through some of the essential bits. I think it'll be good to kind of do that. So I'm going to just bring that up. Let me know when you guys can see the screen. I've just brought something up. Is this? I'm assuming it's visible. I'm just gonna go with it. To correct me if it's not. So geometry is, like I said before, the Canva of the metaverse. We're actually in the virtual world right now, which we can walk and talk around in, right? And we've built tons and tons of metaverses on our platform for some of our top clients. Of course, are mentioned over here, but I mean, this includes so many other rock solid deployments that we've done over a period of time. And what we give you is really simple. One of the top platforms where you can create this content and publish it, and you've got rock solid analytics where you would be able to see it. Some of the deployments that you can, that I can quickly showcase is the work we do on onboarding. These are virtual worlds built on our platform, which is a really, really simple toolkit with lots of exciting avenues and everything from digital twins to specific training ranging from 360 to 3D to pretty much everything that you can imagine within the three-dimensional world. Multiple people joining in, collaboration, everything you would expect from Metaverse platform, but with large-scale deployments across the world. That's something that you will be able to see on Geometry. And like I said before, I think one of the beautiful things is that all of this is built using our tool. This is what you guys will have an opportunity to work on. This is the place where all the magic happens. Geometry kind of helps create experiences and helps take you build that with a really simple no-code toolkit, right? So I think that glimpse I just want to kind of bring up so everybody's on the same page with a lot of the other things. So that's just a quick introduction. Back to you, Puneet. Sahil, please feel free to add if I may have missed out on something.
Yeah, no, I think that's a pretty good overview of geometry. So geometry in a nutshell is a metaverse player, right? You as a developer, as a coder, are free to play with the JSON that defines your whole world, your whole 3D environment, right? And then geometry is just a smart player sitting in the background, executing, creating that 3D scene for you, that 3D world for you, orchestrating the whole thing for you, adding the layer of collaboration, chat, avatars for you, right? And yeah, so a lot of the projects that we have today, which Utsav will go through, I guess, one by one, uh, have to do with that particular JSON, with with the scene that the geometry player knows very well how to play, how to use and create your whole 3D world with.
So, in a nutshell, thanks so much for that. Maybe we'll bring Puneet in and then continue with the rest. Otherwise, we'll yeah, yeah.
Right. So I just wanted to add on one more point because after seeing the universe in a different level, so developers would really pick geometry now. because it gives them a next level vibe to start contributing on the platform. So on the next point, like we have seen, there are four projects that we have from Geometry, like I mean, Chat Metaverse, Project iOS Fevers, and many more. So we'll go one by one on that, and would be great if you can explain in a way so a developer would understand and understand their roles and responsibility for 12 weeks. So accordingly, they'll propose their proposal and impress the leaders like you who are here and work with you on a real-time universe.
Absolutely. No. So I think what I would like to bring up is that the way we work at Geometry is with a high level of responsibility at each and every stage. So when you're coming in, you're going to be in a position where you will be able to define the direction the product is headed in a really rock solid way. And which is why that also reflects in all of the projects that we have brought forward. As you'll see, they're an important part of the way that the world is consuming content today, and that's extremely important for us to move forward with. So, as Puneet mentioned, I'm just going to quickly introduce the four projects that we have, and I think all of them are extremely exciting. I think there's a global wave when it comes to ChatGPT and what AI is bringing into each and every platform, and we're extremely and equally excited as the rest of the world. What that means for us as a content creation platform is that there is this sudden discovery of another way to interact with and create content, right? Content creators now want to express intent and expect a lot of things to go with. Incidentally, Geometry was always primed to be this platform. For those of you who've tried Geometry out, you will know that we were a sentence-based logical engine, which means we did always imagine a world in which you would speak, and that comes out. And I must say that the metaverse is an even further candidate for this, because imagine you're wearing a headset and you're creating content. You don't have a keyboard or something to type by. You don't have traditional interfaces. All you have is your voice, right? So imagine you walk into a world, you speak, and the world creates itself. And that's the ultimate vision that we've seen not only now but before. What changes now is the implementability, is the fact that we're trying to open out the ability for you, and by you I mean all the people who are looking forward to work with this. We're giving you this ability to add this capability and this penultimate layer, right? That just goes out before we actually have the UI to come out. So that's something that we want to really, really simply open out. And for that, we have an underlying layer that has been in the making for 3, 4 years now, which allows easy configuration of three-dimensional worlds and the interactivity within it. The technology we've written is extremely unique and is a global leader at doing what it does. Just by defining a JSON, you can not only define what a space looks like, what it feels like, but also what it plays like. So the first project is what we are calling Chat Metaverse, where you can speak, you can, you've got to build an API that links with ChatGPT and then uses the Geometry SDK. Links for all of these are available, of course. You can look at the Geometry SDK and build a deployment with that, right? So that's something that is project one, which is what we're calling Chat Metaverse. I want to quickly introduce the other projects as well. We're also seeing a few. So one thing that's called Chat Templates is essentially the project where we know that there are certain top use cases, and we also want to go to another level of nuances in terms of figuring out intent to metaverse generation. And there we're looking at customizing templates based on what you say. So these two projects are closely linked. Apart from this, there are two exciting projects. One is a backend project. Maybe Sahil, you want to throw some light on the Zapatos one? Maybe that's something that you can do quickly before I move on to the
Yeah.
last one.
So the backend project, we have replaced that one with the iOS-based Geometry Viewer app. So the project right now is to create a viewer created on Swift, iOS native, that is able to read the Geometry Metaverse description, the JSON, and create a metaverse by looking at that JSON. This doesn't need to be a complete replica or a complete implementation of all the features in Geometry. That is not what is expected of you in 3 months. What we expect you to finish in 3 months is basically the bare bones features, like the ability to create a 3D scene, the ability to create a 360 scene, and placing all the basic objects the way it has been defined in the project JSON, right? Just this bare bones skeletal app is what is expected of you at the end of 3 months. Uh, uh, iOS native app that we can use as the building block, that we can use as the base for creating the next generation geometry viewer for Apple. So yeah, that's the third point.
And Apple's also a really exciting domain because, as you know, there have been rumors, but I think it's quite solidified now that the Apple headset will be coming soon. Soon, the definition of soon keeps changing, but I think within the metaverse world, that's also going to be fairly interesting. At the same time, geometry intends to be working everywhere. We already work on the Oculus space, so I think that's something that people already know. So this is a really important project that would come out and also make our experiences work better on iPhones, which is of course a key important thing. So a lot of value that kind of comes in with this. The last is what we're calling the AI spokesperson. And I think over the past few years, we have definitely seen a very big jump in in AI influencers, right? I mean, everyone has these amazing people that can come in that can answer your questions intelligently. Can we also within our metaverse use this not only to add simple NPCs that would be able to converse with you on a few topics, but also full-fledged AI spokesperson? Can I create a room that represents you as a brand? Can I work with that? So, given a simple description, given a simple set of questions, can so the project essentially includes that as the key metric. So now I think it's a good time to also deep dive into the project durations, the how-tos, and a lot of specific questions I'm sure a lot of you have. So more than happy to take those questions one by one and also kind of let you know in terms of, yeah, maybe we also want to cover a little bit in terms of the effort that's required from your side. So just we're looking at roughly 20 hours per week, right? That's the kind of time that we would need. This is a startup, so if you have more time, great. But that's the bare minimum we're looking at. Your contributions will play out in multiple ways, and and this is something that also as a part of this program will be acknowledged at multiple levels. So there's a lot of good reward at the other side of that. 20 hours a week for us, of course, it's not 4 hours a day is necessarily, but 20 hours a week is what is the thing that we'll be looking at.
On this point, I just wanted to understand, like, so many developers are currently into third year or fourth year, but they are superb with their skill sets. So is
Yes.
there any way, like, I can contribute 2 3 hours a day and I'll be able to give like maximum effort on the weekends? Does this work with you?
Absolutely, which is why I want to stress on we would design the deliverables to be more like week on week deliverables, assuming 20 hours a week. So of course, here and there we're gonna have a few connections and touch points, and yeah, I mean we can work flexibly around everyone's times. Many people are students, like you said. Some sometimes I may not be available.
So
Yeah, so all those things are definitely very flexible as long as you have the 20 hours per week.
so at the end, result matters instead
That's
of
true. Yeah, and
if
we're
you are
okay with
putting 12 hours or 20 hours, it doesn't sound go well. But if you're
it.
putting like enough hours and the result is well, then it's good. So on the other note, so there are some of the queries that we see regularly from the developers in our personal chats or the emails. So do I need to contribute on the repositories that have shared on the platform, or do I need to submit in a proposal like in this way? uh, like these are my thought process, this is how I am envisaging to work with you in next 12 weeks. So week one I need to understand about the project, and going further these are the things that I'll be able to help with. Like how do you envisage a proposals that can impress?
So I'll
The
do
proposal are very simple documents. The second thing you mentioned, right? Detailing on how you plan to attack the problem, right? What are the steps that you plan to take? How you want to break down the problem over the next 12 weeks, right? And what would be the base research that you need to do even before you start the project, right? As long as you have these things in line, right? I think you will have good proposal ready, right? And you can submit this in whatever format you want. It can be a doc file, it can be a GitHub commit. Doesn't matter. It has to be text that we go through, right? With a clear indication of what your attack plan is. How do you plan to attack the problem?
Right.
As long as we're confident that you've understood what we are trying to achieve, that's the most important thing, right? As long as you're confident on your, that you understand, just try to show that you understand what we're trying to achieve, and and then of course the problem is something that you will be able to help us solve. As long as that's clear, format is.
Yeah.
Right. Um, So there is one more questions. I just wanted, what are the technology stacks one needs to be understand it? If I am good with, let's say, Blender, but I am not familiar with other technologies, would I apply or shall I drop it? Do I need to understand each and every language, or if I am okay with two or three languages, shall I go ahead with it?
So that depends very closely on the project that you apply for. For example, if you are applying for the iOS viewer app, right? You definitely do need to know Swift UI, right? You need to know how to create an iOS app. That would be the minimum expected. However, if you are applying for, let's say, the AI spokesperson app, right? Now that's a problem statement which has got to do a lot with how you plan to create your training set, how you plan to use the various AI APIs which are available online, or how you plan to create one for your own, right? So
Right.
for that, if you have the base skill set with you, like if you're good with Python, if you have worked with different AI libraries, that should be good enough, right? So it really depends on the problem statement that you are choosing to use. Similarly, let's say you plan to choose the problem statement for chatbot to fill metaverse template. Now, this is a problem statement where you would need to understand uh, the geometry project JSON really well. Now, that is a library that we have written in TypeScript. So if you choose that problem statement, a background knowledge of a good working knowledge of Node.js or JavaScript or TypeScript would really help, right? So, in short, it really depends on what project you're planning to choose.
Right. So there is one more question from warm words in the project AI spokesperson tech stack like ChatGPT and Geometry SDK. Most of us are new to them and don't have any real experience. How you're going to evaluate us on that basis?
Uh, so the geometry SDK is something which is there on our docs website. It is something that I don't expect you to take more than half a day to understand and start using. It is not a very complex SDK. It's actually very bare bones APIs that are available for you to talk to the project JSON that we have. So uh, that's actually pretty straightforward. As long as you understand how to make API calls, and as long as you understand how to work with JSON, right? That is the skill set that you need for it. So don't get so stressed out about the geometry SDK, is what I would say. Uh, ChatGPT, on the other hand, if you have gone through their website, if you have gone through their docs, you will realize that their docs are actually very, very, very cleanly organized, right? You can actually take aside 1 or 2 days and try to give yourself a good overview of how ChatGPT APIs work. It is actually not that tough, right? As long as you have a basic understanding of how AI works, as long as you have done a few AI courses, or whether in your college or whether yourself on your own, I think you should be good to work with ChatGPT. It is not a very big black box that you will not be able to decipher. So don't worry so much about knowing ChatGPT specifically. As long as you have the basics in place of any AI system, I think you are good to go there.
Right. So it really boosts everyone's confidence when you said the documentations are pretty easy to understand.
Yeah.
So there is one more question from Mohit. Can we get some more insights on chat templates project and chat metaverse project?
I'm sure. So you want to take that?
Yeah, I think I can just pick this up. So, look, I think over here it's always good to share screen and take you through some of the really quick ways in which geometry functions, because I think whatever I've already said, I mean I won't say anything new unless I do this quickly. So uh, just sharing my screen one more time for you guys. Yeah. So basically, whenever you create, this is basically the geometry platform, right? Now, whenever I come in and start working towards this, uh, within my workspace, I use some combination of scenes, the elements that go into it, right? So we call all of these individual things like images, videos, 3D models, audio, all of these different things as elements, right? And I can continue to add elements to customize this entire thing, right? So I can, maybe start by using some kind of a panoramic image or a 3D model, right? I mean, we also have some really cool integrations. And it can be a 3D world that you're working in, or I can start adding a lot of different elements to it. Now, what I did was basically a series of actions to first of all decide the environment and subsequently decide that I want to add a person. Now, the other thing I will also add is interactivity, right? So I can also basically, maybe try and add some interactivity on this. And in order to add interactivity, what I have to do is I have to use something that we call rules at geometry, right? Now, rules are sentences. What do you say? You say, hey, when the emoji is clicked, then the video should play, right? And just by doing this, we allow you to actually publish these experiences using deployments. And there's some configuration options that come out, but this experience link right here is basically what we have just created, right? Like with a few clicks, what I've done is I've created this world where you have this
Hello,
person and
welcome
this
to the.
it's shareable, something that works and works everywhere, right? I just wanted to show you this quick way that some combination of elements, which includes the backdrop, the world you are in, which includes elements inside it, and which includes rules, were used to basically create that really quick thing. In a world, there is a lady, and I can speak with her. Now, both of these projects, the chat templates and the chat metaverse, instead of this series of clicks that I followed, right, which eventually is generating a JSON that creates this to be rendered, right? I use certain intent from the user side to automatically generate it, right? So if I say that, hey, I want I want a virtual world where that looks like a factory shop floor with with a generator in front of me, right? So that basically will auto generate all of these things based on certain logic. Of course, we have a lot more. There's also some secret sauce to it. Once you are a part of the team, you will see a lot of different things happen to it, right? The difference between chat templates and chat metaverse is slightly more zoomed out from the perspective that we want to basically give you a place where you can start working, right? And it becomes a place that eventually you customize deeper. So the thought with chat metaverse is something that becomes a very rock solid starting point that comes out, right? And that of course leads to its own set of nuances. Chat templates are meant for very specific use cases, right? For example, already the design elements and a lot of the things will be defined, right? And only few things are subject to change because most of the decisions have already been taken because there will be a user action of picking a template in advance of then getting the information on top. So that is, for example, a use case is meet the leaders, right? So I can walk into a room, all the CXOs of any company are standing around, right? And I can walk up to them and ask some questions, right? So that is one experience. So in this already, that is a template. In this template, I already know the format. I know that there's going to be a corporate room. I know there's going to be a wall with the company's logo. I know that there are going to be certain people, and the format of it is already defined. So while geometry is very open-ended, one project, the chat metaverse project, talks more about the preserving that open-ended nature and giving a place to start. The chat templates is more specific to a use case that the customer has chosen to address. The nuances, of course, change. Yeah, if anybody wants to add something from my team, please feel free to.
Yeah, I think you covered it quite quite well.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's very
Chat
much
template. sorry. The chat template project is going to be more about how you ask a Q&A to a particular user, and how you are able to use that input to fill in the blanks which are available in any particular given template, right? This is a more, I think, um, this is a question based more on user interaction, right? How you're going to talk to the user, how you're going to get input from the user in a very human friendly manner. Whereas the other project, the chat metaverse project, that is more about the AI bit. How do you generate a 3D world? How do you determine the most important assets which are supposed to be placed and where, right? And then how do you give the uh, relevant output back to the user? So yeah.
Great.
Utsav, you're on mute if you're saying something.
Yeah, I was just waiting for Puneet to get some of the other questions. So, placement opportunities, PPOs, of course, we would love to retain talent that we work with at any point of time. Come in, make a mark. That's all you need to do to immediately get something that talks about how you will continue after this initial engagement. We're always looking for good talent. So, yeah, provided this goes well, there's nothing stopping you.
For this, you need to impress them for next 3 months once you are shortlisted. That's the only secret sauce.
I couldn't
So
have put
that's
it better myself. Absolutely.
yeah. So what level of expertise in each tech stack of the project is expected from geometry team? Can the developers from different background with good problem solving enthusiasm can be a part of geometry team?
So I would definitely encourage you, even if you are from a different background, right? Because at the end of the day, coding is coding. As
Hmm.
long as you know the basic rules, it is not actually really tough to switch streams. Like for example, if you have worked with Unity, if you have worked with Android or C Sharp, right? Those skills are actually transferable, very, very transferable. What matters more is your passion for the problem statement, is your passion for the whole industry as such, right? And to see if you are able to apply your knowledge on this specific problem statement. The coding part, the API part, all of those things you will learn along the way. Don't worry so much about that. Focus on the problem statement itself and how you plan to attack it. There is more than enough research material available freely over the internet. Just use the next few days researching on what the best ways to attack the problems are and create your proposal on that. I wouldn't say that, let's say you don't know TypeScript, right? I wouldn't say that's a blocker. TypeScript is a very easy language to learn. If you know C Sharp, you can learn TypeScript. Okay? Those are the last mile implementation details. What matters more is how you attack a problem.
Right. So I have a question. It's that can be asked by many of the developers for sure. What would be the three advice or three pointers that one can encapsulate in their proposal? So can be in multi-folds because there are one thing one needs to understand the technology, but second is behavior. So what kind of energy that one needs to put in while working with you? Because many times we have seen developers they are good with their technology skills, but they are not able to speak in front of others or communicate well in terms of team understanding, etc. So on this, if you can throw some thought.
Yeah, maybe I'll just say so. Look, the top three things, right? They're like, to be quite honest, right? Communication skills, etc. Right? Come as you become a part of the team, you will realize how to better them, right? I hope whatever level of communication skills you come at, you will go back with better communication skills. At the end of the day, if you're a problem solver who's able to relay what you're trying to say across when you may be not be comfortable talking in front of a group, well, as long as you can communicate your problems to who you're working with, as long as you understand the problem statement well, and as long as you're able to relay how your solution is going to be, right? That is something that is going to be the most important thing for us, right? uh, how you tackle a problem, what solution you arrive at, and why you think that solution is best. As long as you're able to defend that, there's no other communication we want. Right? I mean, as long as you get these three aspects of problem solving: understanding the problem, defining how you intend to solve the problem, and then actually going ahead and as long as you're able to communicate that at one level with whoever you work with, it's really straightforward. You'll see we're a really pragmatic, straightforward, and to the point team to work with. That is the most important thing, right? The rest is irrelevant as far as anything is there.
So, in a
Uh,
nutshell, you meant that one needs to be entrepreneur
yes.
because he's the one who
See,
understand the problem, work on it, and defend his idea.
correct. I mean, fair enough. Translatable, yes. That is translatable to that as well. But yeah, as long as that skill set exists to some level, I mean, that you are able to work strongly towards that problem solving. I mean, nothing else. Literally, that would stop you.
Right. I mean, that's all. I think we are run out
Yeah.
of time as well as questions. So we do have Slack channel. So in case any developer wants to have a chat with you, they'll reach out to you there. Style already there. Uh, so that's all. And this was really, I mean, quick and very enthusiastic for me as well. So looking forward to have more and more applications to your way, the skilled applications.
Looking forward to that, and looking forward to working with some of the folks that were there today, and yeah, really looking forward to seeing those proposals. Cheers, guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Cheers.
Thank
Bye.
you, Ahmed.
Thanks.
Bye.